Hey everybody, welcome back to Shock and Shock. I'm your host, Herschel Gillis, and today I actually have a DVD. A physical copy. The 2001 J-horror film, Suicide Club. Um, Suicide Club was, of course, directed by Sion Sono. I'm getting worse, actually, at saying these names. I'm sorry. Um, it's about this wave of suicides in Japan by starts out with just schoolgirls, um, and goes on to be, everyone, every everybody is affected by it, um, and it follows sort of like this detective, um, who's trying to figure out why, because he thinks these suicides are connected, and there's this mysterious caller that sort of tips off the police. Um, there's this website that, like, before the suicides occur, there will be like lights that represent men or women on there, and it'll pop up before the suicides happen, and it shows how many. Um, it's yeah, that's I can't spoil much here because it takes some twists and turns. Um, but that's the basic premise there. Um, and this is a film that you should definitely watch. This is a bit of a cult classic by this point, but I had never seen it myself. Um, I'm glad I finally checked it out. The film opens with a group of 50 schoolgirls holding hands and like singing this like 1, 2, 3, 4 song and jumping onto a subway track and then almost comically getting hit by the train. I say comically because the gore and special effects in this movie are not great, so it kind of lessens like any impact that would be had there. There is impact to some of it, but the more graphic scenes are definitely very over the top, um, and silly looking, I guess. Um, there are actually some. Continuing with that, there are some funny parts in this film actually. Um, Definitely dark humor, but it is certainly there with like how callous and light-hearted people are while dealing with suicide and death, and um, it has a chuckle or two to be found in here. Um, I actually really enjoyed the story though of this film. I want to talk about that first. It's paced really well. The characters are fleshed out for once, or not for. I don't know why I said for once. The characters are very fleshed out, which is something I didn't expect from a movie titled Suicide Club. But it's actually well acted. The detective character, I really liked his character, and like I felt his storyline was very engaging. Um, Really, everything in this film, it takes a bunch of twists and turns across the story, save for one like short or small part of the film. Um, Not necessarily the concept presented, but like this. There's a certain character and group of characters that pop up around 2/3 of the way in, um, that I don't particularly care for. Um, I just think they're like very over the top and comic characters, and they don't really fit the film necessarily. I know the film is darkly comic at times, but they almost feel like cartoon characters, like caricatures of people, and I just didn't feel like they fit in the film very well. But for the most part, the characterization, the writing, and everything is very good. The detective story is great. I was actually pretty invested in the mystery as well. I really didn't know where this was going because it kept taking these weird turns. Um, but all of them feel justified and they make sense to the story that the film was trying to tell. And it's done very well. Um, the music is great in this as well. And there is actually like a major plot aspect of this group of children singers that are sort of like sweeping the nation. I'm not going to spoil anything related to them or anything. Probably isn't Even what you're thinking if after you hear that. Um, this like group of children that have this really popular song in Japan. The song is pretty damn catchy. I'm not even gonna lie. It will probably stick with you. Um, but yeah, the music overall, even away from that, that's kind of only 50% of a joke. The song's not that bad. Um, but the music is really good. It sets the tone. The cinematography is really good. Um, Definitely shot like a J horror film, like something typical. Um, but once again, it fits the film. Like it fits the what it's trying to do. And I feel like the title of the film is going to make you expect something that this isn't. Because there are actually some creepy moments in this too, which was really shocking. Um, there was even one jump scare that got me. I'll say that. And I don't usually get surprised, but I guess I didn't expect a jump scare in this, but yeah. Um, Creepy, well paced. One really dumb scene that really brings this movie down in that brief period. But luckily, it goes back on the rails after that. Um, and while I said the violence is comical, sometimes there is one act that reminds me of something from Splatter Naked Blood with like self harm that actually I didn't expect. I don't know how I didn't expect it, but I didn't, and it really surprised me. And it's like comically gory and silly looking, but it was still creeped me out, like in the context of the film. Um, it's just somebody like chopping a vegetable and they start chopping their fingers and on their hand and then keep going up. They're smiling the entire time. Creeped me out. Um, yeah, I just really think this is a good film, a good J horror film. Um, it's not necessarily like maybe the extreme horror or exploitation film that you may expect, like just based on the title and the premise of the film. But it is a really good film that I would highly recommend. It's a bit more intense um, than some other horror films, like more mainstream stuff. But I wouldn't even say this goes too far into extreme cinema, which is what I usually cover. But this is sort of like the midpoint. Um, yeah, it's really good though. You should definitely check it out. Save for the one scene, power through it. It's like 5 or 10 minutes. Some of you may even like it, but I don't want to spoil it either because it's like a major plot point, which is unfortunate. But yeah, save for that. Highly had a great time with this, and I highly recommend it. So you should definitely check it out. That's my thoughts on Suicide Club. Tomorrow, not sure what I'm going to review yet, but continuing the trend. This has been day 21 of my 31 days of horror reviews. Keep an eye out for tomorrow's review and video, whatever it ends up being. Eventually, be it tomorrow or later on, I'm going to be reviewing this Psycho Gothic Lolita, made by the same people that made Machine Girl and I believe Tokyo Gore Police. At least the special effects um, supervisor is the same. So looking forward to that. But away from that, make sure to keep your notifications on. Keep your subscription on. Subscribe to me if you haven't, that's what I mean. And thanks for watching. If you're watching the end of these videos, I appreciate all of you. I know some people dip out early on, but to you that's watching right now, I am talking to you. Thank you. Um, yeah, as always, though, I've been your host, Herschel Gillis, signing off for today. Zero thoughts, zero editing, zero planning, and zero brain cells. Come back tomorrow. Thanks, guys.